What's going on, guys? City of the Wolves is releasing this week, and actually if you pre-order the game, it's coming out in a few hours at the time we're recording this video. However, there's 5 things I wanted to talk about that you're going to want to learn day one that aren't just combos. I think combos are usually what people want to learn right away when they get into fighting games. They don't seem like they're going to be too complex for this game. There's some systems that you're really going to want to learn, and that's where like the high level play is really going to revolve around. So one of the first systems I wanted to talk about is rev guarding. So rev guarding is when you hold a dedicated button on your controller. You can kind of space out the opponent. You can see there is this little shield here. This indicates that you're rev guarding. Now, one thing to note is if you can see this shield, you can visually see that your opponent is blocking, which means that you can just run up and grab them. So, we've seen games like Guilty Gear Xrd or Central Fiction, Blaze Blue, that has this visual guarding, which is overall a better blocking. So it doesn't use chip damage, but you can visually see that they're guarding. So there's kind of a give and take there. But rev guard is pretty basic. It puts more space between you and your opponent. If you hold down the button, now this Preacha, instead of keeping up her pressure, she is now whiffing this button, and you can go in for a big whiff punish. So this, knowing when to rev guard versus regular blocks, is really important. One thing to note is when you do rev guard, it increases your bar here. So you're not taking chip damage to your health, but you are taking chip damage to your rev guard. And that brings me right into my next point that I actually want to bring up, is learning how to, learning how to manage your rev bar in general. So this game is kind of like the opposite of Street Fighter 6. When you use EX moves, or if you block too much, it actually fills up the meter. Instead of in Street Fighter 6 you have a meter and it goes down until you're burned out. But regardless, you are burned out when this gets when the meter fills up to 100%. So, shout outs to this guy here. He has a video of guard breaking. So this person is in overheat, which is this game's revved up. And this is kind of almost like a Street Fighter 6 burnout combo. Now, one thing I want to notice, talk about here is notice the rev bar when he starts this combo. 89%. This big super that gives off that like air horn noise, see his rev bar is going down. So you can actually do your big combos that use all these EX moves and build up a lot of your bar. If you're going to go right into this big super, now he's down to 0%. So that's one way you can manage the rev guard. And if you are burned out, you're going to be taking crazy big damage. So the next thing I want to talk about is just defense. So yeah, when you block at certain timings, you get this visual flare. It's almost like perfect parry in Street Fighter 6. I know I'm making a lot of comparisons to that, but I think there is a lot of comparisons between these two games. When you just defense, it also doesn't use that much rev meter, or doesn't, make your rev meter fill up that much. So let's see. Hers, it went down 1% when she did the just defend there. His 18, and then it did go up a little bit because he guard cancel. We'll get into guard cancel in a second here. When you just defense, you can follow up with a guard cancel, which is using you basically do perfect parry and get to do a special move right out of it. This is really crazy because you can just defend an anti-air, and let me just show you. This is really crazy because you can just defend a move and then break. You can just defend a move, guard cancel it into a special move, break that, and get a crazy big damaging combo. Let's take a look here at Aru Lee, big SNK community member, always holding it down in the New York scene. Posted this clip of a pretty cool My combo. So she broke the DP and was able to just get this big, nice combo. Now, still, people in the comments were saying that, the damage scaling on guard cancel, it wasn't a big damaging combo. I think it's crazy that you get this big combo off of, defense. Like, that's pretty good, in my opinion. Even if it's a lower damage, in general, being able to break a DP and just keep going into another combo. Getting a combo off of a DP, that's not something we often get in fighting games. So I was just talking about breaking. What is breaking exactly? Yeah, so breaking is essentially canceling the animation of a move. So Terry jumps in, you can cancel the DP and now get a whole big other combo. I mean, man, if I could do this in Street Fighter 6, it would be insane. So I think that's going to be so important to learn how to break these certain special moves. And then next is feinting, which seems kind of similar, but it's a little different, where breaking is you actually do the move and then cancel it. Like, that DP would have maybe been 2 hits, but cancels it right there and then is able to go into other moves. Feinting is like a fake move. So he does a fake fireball. Like, that's a real fireball, and then he does the fake one. So when you pretend to do this move, it actually has a lower recovery, so you get special combos. When I was playing T-Zoc, I don't remember exactly the buttons. I think it was heavy kick went into like medium punch, but I was able to do heavy punch, feint that into heavy kick into medium punch. Like, I was able to get one more button in that sequence by feinting out these moves. So those are pretty much 5 things I think are going to be essential to learn immediately. I know I didn't go super in depth. So those are 5 things that I think you're going to want to learn immediately in City of the Wolves, that not just learning your big B&B. There's so many systems in this game. I think definitely that guard cancel, that just defense One thing I forgot to mention is you can air block in this game if you just defend it. So, pretty cool stuff. Let me know who you guys are going to want to play when the game actually drops. It should be out by the time you're actually watching this video. So let me know what's going on, and have a good one.